Hello folks, hopefully you're all doing well. Just a little bit of a video just to let you know where we're going with the collective, what we are doing with the collective, just to make sure you're all aware. Hopefully you're all doing well. We will get going, I think, on our little kind of video. So yeah, let it begin. So, some ideas on the plans. We obviously have our 1 year anniversary show. Our first recording, a first song recording for the very, very beginning of the collective, almost a year ago now, seems amazing that, was the White Cliffs of Dover. That went out on the 19th of April last year. Obviously, as a lot of you will know, we're working towards a recorded concert event, which will be broadcast on Saturday, the 17th of April. We're looking forward to that. The current songs for that, and this is a slight update, and we'll explain a few of the whys and wherefores here, is The Rose, which we've almost come to the end. We're almost at the deadline for The Rose. We're in the middle of rehearsing I'm Still Standing, and we are going to be moving on to relearning and re-recording the White Cliffs of Dover. Future songs that will happen after we've done the White Cliffs of Dover will be Sitting on the Dock of the Bay and Dancing Queen, which were premiered a week or so ago now. Those will start rehearsing in late March. So we'll be rehearsing them before the 1 year anniversary show, but the recording deadlines for those two songs will be after the 1 year show. So that's a little bit of a change. We've just moved the order of things round. Obviously, we do not want to be trying to rush anything. We want to make sure that we get the best experience. So we've put a few little tweaks in place. So we'll be starting rehearsals a little bit later for Sitting on the Dock and Dancing Queen, but we're bringing forward White Cliffs of Dover to make sure that that one gets rehearsed and ready to be aired almost exactly a year after the first version of the White Cliffs of Dover was aired. So there'll be learning materials coming out relatively soon for the White Cliffs of Dover. Shortly after that, we will be also putting out learning materials for Sitting on the Dock of the Bay and Dancing Queen. And for the concert after April, so obviously we've got our 1 year anniversary show, which is 3 songs. We're then going to have another concert, probably end of May, beginning of June, that kind of neck of the woods time as far as we're aware. There's another song that is ready to go for that as well. So there'll be another new song coming after April. So we can be getting on with that. And obviously then the 3 songs for that show will be Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, Dancing Queen, and then this extra song. And you never know, we might get something else in there as well. So here is therefore a current updated timetable. You'll know that we started on doing The Rose on the 9th of January. And feedback, which I'll come to in a minute and just explain what feedback is for. Feedback on some feedback recordings was by the 22nd of January. The video sessions, we obviously, if you didn't know, we have audio recordings for the final versions, and we do video sessions where you basically sing along but on mute. So basically almost like miming the videos. We find that works really well. It means that people can focus on their audio recordings, not having to try and worry about both what they look like on a Zoom screen and what they sound like, etc., etc. Especially with sometimes internet issues that happen, it's easier to do it that way, and we like the opportunities that gives us as far as extra work on the audio. So for video sessions, we've just come off the back of finishing some video sessions for The Rose, and our audio deadline, so deadline for audio recordings is the 9th of February, so only a few days away for that one. We started I'm Still Standing on the 28th of January, so you can still join in on that one. So we started on 28th of January. Feedback, and I'll explain now what feedback is. Feedback is where you can record yourself singing a section of I'm Still Standing. The section you need to sing for I'm Still Standing is different for each part. because there's different parts. So you'd get like a bar number, like bar 48 to 86 or something for the basses, I think it is. And you would therefore send in, using a little uploader form, a little recording, and you would get some positive feedback. So some positive and constructive feedback to say what you're doing well and how you might be able to improve both on the song, but vocally in general. So a general kind of a little bit of kind of the lowdown on how you're doing with the notes and breaths and words of the actual song, but also some maybe some tips and hints on other things you might be looking at doing. It's all a very, very supportive process. So it's not compulsory. There is no pass fail in the collective. There never has been, there never will. So it's not any kind of audition. You don't have to put anything in for feedback. For the Rose, I think we had about 140 singers put in feedback, but it's looking at the moment that we might have about 350, so a good few hundred, more than twice as many who are actually going to be putting in final recordings. So not everybody put in audio recordings for feedback, and that's absolutely fine. If you want some feedback, we can give it to you. If you're okay, then that's perfectly fine. Obviously, one of the sessions we've added in recently is called part-specific feedback, and that's a live session we do as part of our rehearsals, which kind of is like a real live version of what you'd get with the recorded feedback and waiting for an email back from someone with that written feedback. So that might be why less people last time round put in for feedback, but you're able to. And as ever, it's no charge. Everything is free in the collective. So yeah, it's just a really nice way of letting you know all the positive things you're doing and maybe some things you might be able to look at to get even better. So that's what feedback is. So feedback by the 13th of February. So that's 6-7 days away. Video sessions for I'm Still Standing will be between the 13th and the 17th of February. Okay. And again, you only need to attend one video session. And the audio deadline for I'm Still Standing is the 3rd of March. Okay. We'll be starting. Okay. And there's a typo there, by the way. White Cliffs of Dover, 20th of February, not January. My apologies. We will be starting the White Cliffs of Dover on the 20th of February. Okay, so we're starting rehearsals 20th of February. Feedback, again, will be by the 6th of March. Video sessions will be between the 11th and the 15th of March. Your audio deadline for those recordings will be the 20th of March. And obviously the 20th of March, our show is on the 17th of April, so that gives us a decent amount of time to edit and sort out all the recordings for all 3 of those songs, as well as sorting the video out, etc. So that gives about a just less than a month turnaround to get everything sorted, which is about right, I think. So Sitting on the Dock of the Bay and Dancing Queen, we will start rehearsing them on the 18th of March. Okay, feedback by the 3rd of April. So you send your feedback recordings in by the 3rd of April. The video sessions for that between the 9th and the 13th of April. And your audio deadline, 19th of April, a couple of days after the show. So obviously then we can then focus on getting those edited after the show for our kind of late May, early June concert. Excellent. Now, just to run through the current phase system. We currently run rehearsals in songs in phases. We have had 4 phases before. We're currently working on 3 phases. This is slightly changing moving forwards, but this is what it is for the Rose and for I'm Still Standing. Phase 1, we have notes, breaths and words. So basically the learning of the song. And newbie support sessions for any of you who are either new or would like a little bit of additional support, again, to kind of know what's what, the whys and wherefores, and just want to basically a little bit more of a support session. That's what's happened in phase 1. Before phase 1, we've obviously been, our marvellous music team leaders have been putting together tutorial videos, going through the specific songs, giving really good tutorial videos to give you all a real good accelerated start to your learning process of these songs. And obviously you get that before phase one, so you can come into phase one having done some decent work already. And again, to also put in those things in notes, breaths and words sessions. So that seems to go quite well. And well, again, we're really impressed how much work people are putting in outside of rehearsals. But again, the mantra of do what you can when you can is absolutely key. So there is no necessity. You don't have to go off and spend hours and hours and hours rehearsing. But again, like anything, what you put into something often mirrors what you get out of it. But there we go. We've only got a certain amount of time in life at the moment. So do what you can when you can. A little bit is still going to be really good. Phase two in current songs has been performance sessions. Looking at how we do the visual performance, visual and vocal performance of the specific song we're working on. Musical memory, where we really run through and really kind of run it. It's like that, really kind of getting it into muscle memory parts, running it through the other harmony parts, and really kind of getting it. Yeah, so musical muscle memory, probably. We could probably call it musical muscle memory, but it is that kind of thing. It's doing something, rehearsing it until we're really sure on what we're doing. And because once we've really learned it, then we can really focus on the performance aspect as well. Unmuted singing. Now, unmuted singing is basically like short little vocal coaching sessions. There's kind of a core group of music team leaders and music team members who do unmuted singing sessions. And again, yeah, it can be for the song you're working on. It can be a completely different song. It can just be singing a scale or singing Happy Birthday. And again, this is if you want some more kind of intensive vocal coaching. Those sessions are, again, around 15 minutes, 20 minutes long, that kind of amount of time. If you're interested in that. So again, that happens in phase two. Part specific feedback is like a live version of the feedback upload system that we have. So part specific feedback is you sing your specific bit for the song that you're working on. So at the moment it'll be I'm Still Standing, and you get some specific feedback from a music team member who knows that part. So they'll be focusing on notes and breaths and word and phrasing and that kind of stuff, possibly even a little bit of performance, maybe even telling you maybe to take a few ninja breaths and stuff like that. So that's what part-specific feedback is. So the difference between part-specific feedback and unmuted, part-specific feedback is very much about your current performance of that section of that song. Whereas unmuted singing is more holistically about your voice. So again, is more kind of vocal coaching as opposed to feedback on that specific part of that specific song. And we also would still in phase two sometimes have newbie and support sessions. I don't like the word newbie. It's not a nasty thing, but we're aware that people coming in, we've been doing this almost a year, and there's lots of systems in place. There's lots of things that people aren't quite sure about. They don't know quite how rehearsals work. They're not aware of the phase system. Again, one of the reasons I'm doing this video. So yeah, so it's not to say that there's anything wrong with being a newbie. That does not mean that you are lesser in our eyes, or you kind of have to earn your stripes and do your time. We're nothing like that. You come in, you do your stuff. You do not have to. If you're a newbie, you don't have to attend those sessions at all. If you're perfectly happy looking through the information, diving straight into some sessions, that's absolutely fine. So it's not that you have to go through that. It's not like okay, you're now in the chorus. There's no auditions, nothing like that. Just go to whichever sessions you want, whenever you want. And that's fine with us. And in phase three, in the current phase system, that's videos. Okay, so video sessions are happening in phase three at the moment. Okay, that's what we've been doing. And that's how it's going to be for I'm Still Standing. However, songs moving forwards, we've talked in the music team and our music team leaders. We have weekly meetings with the music team leaders, and we've spoken about updating the phase system. We think, and again, when I say we, I also kind of mean me, think that we need to have a little bit more of a blended approach, and also bring back some of the types of sessions that we've done in the past, which we feel would be very much appreciated by you, and people still mention them. So we'd still have notes and breaths and words sessions. Okay, we'd also have phrasing and musicality sessions. Ones we haven't done for a little while, but there again, we'd like to do that, especially moving forwards if we're going to be having some songs which might be a little more challenging. Purposely at the moment, actually, the songs we're working on are not meant to be particularly challenging. So The Rose and I'm Still Standing, they're not particularly challenging songs to sing comparative to some things that you might be used to singing in your choirs or choruses or whatever. And we do like a challenge. So we'd like to be challenging in some cases, having slightly more challenging songs, slightly like we did in Christmas with, in its own kind of way, the Christmas song, but also O Manual Mysterium as well was a little bit more challenging. So we're going to be bringing back some phrasing and musicality sessions. We'll still have performance sessions, but performance sessions will both be some sessions on the performance of the song, and some things we used to do was actually looking at performance more generally. So looking at performance more generally speaking, about how do we do good performances, looking at examples of great performances, what makes a good performance, how do we do upbeat performance, how do we do energetic performances, how do we do those kind of more heartfelt ballad things, what is the older style of performance and what are we looking for with the style of performance we do in the collective. Those of you who do the collective will know that I'm not a big fan of random wavy hand movements if they don't give anything particular to that song, but there are times when actually physical movements are useful, but again we don't want people all just like rooted to the spot looking worried. So we're going to be bringing back some general performance sessions that will be hopefully just that you can put those things into place on any song in any musical group that you do, which is how we did do it back in the summer in 2020. So we're going to be putting some of those types of sessions back in. Musical memory will stay, as will part-specific feedback, as will unmuted singing, as will newbie support sessions. Okay, the other things that we're going to make sure we do more of and bring back is social sessions. Now that means kind of like parties, quizzes, those kind of big social sessions, the big ones where we'll say there's going to be a Saturday night party, 70s night, go get in your fancy dress and let's dance around to ABBA or whatever. Those things are always great fun, but also smaller social sessions. So the possibility of smaller socials get-togethers, like again, kind of coffee and a chat type things, but making sure that they suit the different time zones. These will still be run by members of the collective team, and we'll be looking at when these things might happen. So we're looking at small social sessions, larger social events. We're going to be making sure that we actually give time to allow the really great community that we've got. And that's one of the great things about the collective, is that it's a community. It's a community of people. It's not just about the singing of the songs. It is. We're all here because we want to sing the songs. We want to grow as vocalists and performers. We want to keep ourselves going. But again, the community, the friends we've made, all those things, we want to make sure that we're putting those things back in and making sure that they are also an important part of what makes the collective really enjoyable, and which is what keeps people here and brings people back. And also, we're going to be bringing back some educational sessions. Obviously, we did some educational sessions on music theory. We did educational sessions on straw phonation, using of kind of straws for kind of vocal warm-ups and vocal health. We did things to do with breathing. We've done things to do with kind of physical warm-ups and things. We've done educational sessions where we've done sessions on arranging by ear, on using guide tracks to learn a song as opposed to using a score. So there's going to be educational sessions that we'll be looking to run as we move forwards, and we'd make sure that when those educational sessions are running, there's no other sessions running at that time, so you can therefore attend those if that session is particularly of interest to you, and we'll try and make sure that it covers a nice wide variety of things. So we're really moving forwards at giving a more blended approach. So rather than having just notes, breaths and words in phase 1 and then just this in phase 2 and just this in phase 3, we're looking at having a blending approach, just having more notes and breaths and words at the beginning and then moving into kind of phrasing, musicality and performance, and having these dotted social sessions, large social social sessions, small social sessions, educational sessions, all these things, so that there is more of a program, an ongoing program of events. Because I think we didn't want to be thinking that we were focusing only on the song, so becoming song centric. So let's roll from one song to the next song to the next song to the next song, and it's all, and then it would become about the performance. It would become about the final recording becomes the most important thing. And one of the things that we said is it's not the final recording is not the most important thing about the collective. It's the journey you go through to get there. We want it to sound great. We want it to sound good. We want it to look good. But again, it's the journey we go together to get to that point that's more important, and that you take from the collective what you need. So if you want to attend rehearsals and social events, but you don't want to put recordings in, that's fine. If you want to put recordings in, but you don't have time to attend lots of rehearsals or do the social sessions, that's fine. If you don't want to even do the singing, but you want to do the educational sessions, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. So you can take what you want out of it, and moving forwards we'll be trying to giving a little bit more blended approach, but also a wider variety of types of sessions, both to do with the song we're working on, but also things in general, to make sure that there's always something new, something that you can therefore look at, something you can look at those recordings and go back to, and so that it's not just rolling from one song to another and we become like a virtual choir song factory, which is definitely not what we want. So, key principles then. Key principles of the collective. Now, you will know these, but I'm going to remind. There's one that's been added at the bottom there. The first thing is do what you can when you can. Okay, which I've kind of alluded to just there. If you can spend lots of time in rehearsals, brilliant. If you can't attend very many rehearsals at all, that's absolutely fine. We say the same thing for our music team members. If music team have got lots of time, they can give lots of time, but there's no pressure on other members of music team who maybe have different kind of home lives, family lives, different kind of work and kind of job stresses and priorities and things. Then they give what they can when they can. And again, we have some music team members who have to take a step back and take some time to do the other things in life except collective, and they come back in. We have some music team members and singers who will have to take a step back for quite an extended period of time, but we're always here. When people want to come and sing with us, when they want to come and spend some time with us, we are here. So do what you can when you can. There is no minimum expectation. There is no maximum amount that you can take from it. It is what you want it to be. And it always has been, and it always will be. So do what you can when you can, and don't worry. Okay, don't worry and feel pressured. And I say that to the music team, and I'm saying it to you as singers. It's the most important thing. We do what we can when we can. It is a tough time. 2021 is still tough. 2020 was really tough. 2021 is equally as tough, if not more tough at the moment with certainly in the UK with second lockdown and all that stuff. So we're kind of being kind to ourselves. The next one is leave no one behind. And actually, that's one of the reasons for slightly going backwards and trying to look at what is it that makes the collective. And that's the idea that we leave no one behind, that if we can put things in place to support people, then we do. If we can modify what we do to give more support, but again, to give the challenge that some people need, but the support that others need, then we'll do that. So our attempt is to leave no one behind. And if you want to take part, we'll do everything we can reasonably to make sure that you can take part. There's no such thing as a silly question. Okay? You might get a silly answer, but there's no such thing as a silly question. Okay, that's just feel free to ask questions either by email or on the Facebook group or going on the website, or in sessions. But again, just make sure, and this is just a little reminder, it probably goes in with the one below, which is be kind, is sometimes, or as we would, there's no such thing as a silly question, but there is also a time and a place for questions. Okay, and I'd remind you that sometimes we in our quest for asking the questions, sometimes they might be asked at not the greatest time within a specific session. So whilst there is no such thing as a silly question, and we want to know what your questions are, please also do not think that means that at any time you can ask any question. Actually, at some points, questions aren't needed because we might be at a specific point in a session. So just be mindful of that. So there's no such thing as a silly question is one of our kind of key principles, one of our guiding mantras. But again, just you be the judge of whether or not it's the correct time in the session you're in to be asking that specific question. But again, there's always time to ask these questions outside of rehearsals, to be asking it in rehearsals. If your music team member has said, has anyone got any questions? Just ask your questions and we'll do our best to give you an answer. And the last one, it's equally important, but it's one that I think it is unsaid, but I've made it really clear over the last few couple of months. Be kind. Okay, we get frustrated. We want to do things well. People have attention to detail. We sometimes not let ourselves down. That's not quite fair. But we sometimes maybe lose sight of a big picture. And we also have to I always think to myself, do I know the kind of day that person has had? Do I know what they're going through? Do I know enough about what they're kind of currently facing to be able to to be able to judge them, to be able to treat them in a certain way? And the answer generally is no, I don't know that. So my default position is to be kind. My default position is to assume that someone is doing the best that they can, and that they're doing what they can when they can, and therefore to try and be kind. Be kinder, if anything, than you would normally be in a day-to-day scenario, because as we know, although this is the day-to-day, it is not normal day-to-day scenario that we are living in. So I'd say to all of you in the collective, we are kind. We are kind above anything. We are supportive. And you'll know that when sometimes there's elements, when there's times when people aren't kind, you know that all of us, music team, myself, the music team leaders, we are very, not protective in a nasty way, but we want people to be kind. We don't want anybody going away from the collective feeling unsupported, feeling victimized, feeling kind of put upon at all. So we want to support everyone and be kind to everyone. Now, a quick reminder, all the information you need. Now, some of you might not go to the collective website very often. You may have the collective app in your, you might have that pre-saved, and you might not be seeing all the work that's going on into the collective website. The collective website continues to be updated. And you'll see there's a little kind of page there. There's the about, there's video links on the video, there's news, there's information on kind of how we work and FAQs. There's information now on the youth chorus, so collectivechoir.com/youth if you want to tell anyone to come and find out about the youth chorus, including the youth chorus sign up link is in that tab now. Obviously there's contact details. There's the Join Us, which basically you can send anyone there. They click on the Join Us, it gives them the sign up link. They can sign up and start attending rehearsals. The thing I want to remind you about is the Collective app, which again, a lot of you are aware of. It's not an app. It's obviously on a website, so you can't get it on your phones. It's not on Android or Apple. So this is when you press on that, what it looks like. You have to have signed up to get into this. Okay, you have to have your registered email address. When you have signed up, because all this is done manually, when you sign up, your email address has to be manually copied into the kind of registry for opening up the app. Sometimes that might take a couple of hours, so just be aware of that. You put your email address in, and then when you've put your email address in, it then takes you to the app. And again, I've logged in and it says, look out, the boss is back, because I'm the boss. You can view schedule, you can view the education videos, you can view warm-up audio guides, you can look at the how-to guides, and that's just the top right-hand side of the page. There's loads more, and that changes dependent on the song we're working on. That changes dependent on what phase of different things are doing with songs, and there's lots and lots of materials there, like previous songs, videos, learning materials, all sorts of stuff. The main thing I want to show to you is the schedule. However, when you click on the schedule button, it gives you this very colourful screen. At the moment, there's I'm Still Standing, because that's a song we're working on. And you'll see that therefore you have to go through, choose what time zone you're in, say whether you're in daylight savings time, look at what format you want your date in, go in, look at the time format, whether you want it 24-hour or AM, PM, all those things. Put in what voice parts, or if it's youth chorus or technical support, click the options you want. Okay, click the options you want, and then it will give you a list of the sessions that you can go into. Okay, now you can see there I'm doing this at a time when it's a Saturday, and we're currently working on I'm Still Standing. So you can see there that these sessions are in there, and again, yeah, you've got Zoom links, you've got the meeting ID, you've got the password, you've got a direct link, you've got what the session is, and again, it even gives you some bar numbers that you'll be working on in that section. And again, that is there for you, and it's updated often. It's updated every day, so there's new sessions being added daily, sometimes hourly, as we move things around, add additional sessions. So you want to be checking there regularly. You want to be checking low. If you think to yourself, oh, I think I'm about free around 5 o'clock-ish, I'll see what sessions there are. You want to do that maybe a couple of hours before that 5 o'clock, because that will be more likely to be correct. Things get added, and again, sometimes things get cancelled, but life happens. Sometimes people can't take those sessions, sometimes things happen and those sessions have to be cancelled or moved, or the times move, or whatever might happens. So check it out on the app, and again, make sure you are going to the app regularly to get that information on your rehearsals. Now, this one, we are a family. Okay, now you might think to yourself, no, you're not. It's just a choir. And again, I know that there's been kind of comments sometimes, oh, it's just a virtual choir. And yes, it is. It is a virtual choir. There's no lie about that. It's a virtual choir. But the way we run this, and the way I always wanted to run it, was that we are just friends and almost like a musical family who just happen to live in different countries, and often in some cases have just happened to never to meet in real life. Okay, we know that again, so if you're relatively new, we are not a cult. Honest, we're not a cult. It's not a cult. It's not a pyramid scheme, but because we want to be kind, because we don't want to leave anyone behind, it does feel like a musical family. It really does. And it's one thing that I think for me in my life, music has been one of those guiding forces, and that real sense of community and family really pervades through all the musical stuff I do. Here in Leicester, I've done kind of gigs and concerts and things with my a cappella quartet, the Simple Tones, and I've done kind of organised musical events, and I've got my what's called the musical family here in Leicester. So again, those people who kind of musicians and guitarists and in bands and things, because for me music is family. Music's it's all about community. So the collective is like that. It is like that, and the people who are here care for each other. They look out for each other. And again, if you're new and you're coming into that, don't worry about it. It's not scary. There's no scary people. We're all very normal, more or less. But yeah, it does feel a lot like a family. So just be aware of that when you're coming in, that we are a close-knit bunch. And like all families, we have disagreements. We kind of get heated. We kind of, especially in this pandemic, we get to points where we get frustrated, and we do all these kind of different things. And I know that you are exactly the same out there. But again, just like any family, we've got each other's backs and we look out for each other. And it is a really, really positive thing that we can look to over a year's worth of kind of musical journey together. and just how much that means to so many people. And that is something that I know makes me and the music team really, really, really proud, that it is a musical family. So I just wanted to put that one out there. We are a family. And that is the video for the moment. Okay, just to let you know what was going on, just to say hello from me to all of you. Again, if you're a newbie, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you've not joined the collective yet, do it. It's well worth it. It's a great time. You've got amazing, amazing people to work with, amazing singers, amazing music team, admin team, tech support team, just an amazing group of people who work really, really hard for all of you for nothing. Well, not for nothing, but they do it for themselves. But again, there's no charge with anything in the collective, so it continues to be a free enterprise. We're not sponsored. We don't have any money, and we just do what we can do. We just do the best we can, and do what we can when we can. So hopefully, if you've been here for 11 months, great stuff. I'll look forward to see you in rehearsal soon. Sometimes you'll notice that I'm not in that many rehearsals. It does not mean I'm not thinking of you, or indeed working behind the scenes. The whole point about being a leader, I suppose, is I have to trust my team, that actually they can go off and do those things that they need to do, and I don't need to necessarily be in every session to just know how great they are and how much you'll be enjoying those sessions. So I do try and get into some sessions, but generally I also try and make sure that the stuff in the background is going on, the idea of plans, the idea of what we're going to do, where we're going, and having that overview. So I am still around, I'm still here. So just because you don't see me in a session doesn't mean I've gone anywhere. So I have been and continue to be. Simon, awesome to see you folks. And yeah, see you in a rehearsal very, very soon. See you later.